In regard to like chemsex support, and when we're doing chemsex support in our communities or in healthcare settings, I think a lot of people think of the extreme end. They think of people injecting drugs or with mental health or with addiction or uncontrollable urges to use or their lives falling apart or have no control over their choice. That's a tiny percentage of what chemsex really is. It's just a tiny percentage. If you can, that iceberg metaphor that we use like in data, the the people, the bit of the iceberg that is above the water, the smaller part of it, that's the people at the extreme end of chemsex. That's some people who might be using it every day or every single weekend or really problematically, not feeling like they have any choice over to use, sort of causing chaos in their own lives and others and experiencing a lot of mental health or addiction problems. They will go for help. They know they're struggling. They know that they might need help. They might know how to Google it. They might know how to help it. They might have other health professionals intervening and trying to get them the help that they need because it's so obvious. We can't, that's not chemsex. That's something bigger. That's the upper part of the iceberg. Our community are the guys in the underbelly of the iceberg, that very larger group of gay men just trying to manage hookup culture, just trying to manage grinder, trying to manage the rejections and the cruelty and the urgent need for intimacy and connection and sexiness and fun and community. But there's a whole lot of kind of social skills required to do that we don't all have. And the drugs serve the purpose of helping us access those tools to get those things. And there's a whole lot of us out there doing it. We're not all using chemsex. We're not all engaging in chemsex problematically. We're not all urgently needing help, but we are urgently needing a dialogue about it. We're urgently needing harm reduction information. We're urgently needing discussions around what great sex can be and how we deserve to be treated. Discussions around consent, around HIV care and prevention, and around sexual health awareness, about kindness to ourselves and others, about having a great sexual experience and waking up with a smile on our face the next morning with no harm done to anybody and just a nice, great experience and memory of it. These are the conversations we need to have, and that's what chemsex support should be. It's not waiting until a problem develops, the upper side of the iceberg. It's about really creating spaces in our communities and in our healthcare services and in our own lives and on our own grinder and on our own apps and in our own friendship networks. It's creating spaces where we have those conversations about what great sex can be, about what kindness can be, what about that morning after feeling, what it can be, about when something feels uncomfortable that happened in a situation, how to talk to our friends about it or how to reach out for help if something weird does happen. These are the conversations that define what chemsex support should be. It's for that underbelly of the iceberg. It's the many of us that are living in a vacuum of those conversations. That's the chemsex activism I'm talking about. That's the chemsex support. That's the need that our communities need. And that's where we should really be starting, with those kinds of very basic conversations about personal well-being, about boundaries, pleasure, about knowing what something feels uncomfortable and being able to speak up about it, knowing what kind of sex and relationships and connections we want and having the tools to go and get them, and not needing drugs to create them without, despite all the harms that might come with them. So it is about creating at the grassroots level, not for the hardened end of self-harming people, but for us and our millions and millions of brothers on apps in hookup culture around the world and using chems to medicate those problems that we can fix just by talking about them within our communities and in our healthcare settings too.